sponsors.
64 gigabyte DDR5 RAM hits the market. Google and Apple award Best Apps of 2020. And Accent Keyboard developers join us live in studio. All that and more next on The Computer Doctor Show.
You're listening to The Computer Doctor Show, your source for technology subjects affecting your business and personal life during this new normal. Your host is an award-winning office technician and IT specialist, author, tutor, ethical hacker, and recent winner on localbest.com as the best computer shop in Tucson. Broadcasting live, here's Aaron Moss.
Son, welcome to the Computer Doctor Show, episode 24. I'm Aaron Moss, your host, along with Rod Brown, co-host. Good to have you with us every Saturday at 2 p.m. right here on KVY 1030 The Voice and streaming live on YouTube on the 1030 The Voice YouTube channel. Our open lines, 520-790-2040. Feel free to call in anytime with your comments and questions. We do have an exciting show for you today. We pride ourselves in reporting the cutting edge of technology and online security for you every week, but sometimes we have the unusual privilege of being part of a release. Joining us live today, two ladies that will share with us an innovative device that the world needs. And your only clue is the word translation. That story in just a moment. But first, tech news stories this week. We can all agree that 2020 would have been much worse if we didn't have the apps, websites, video networking, and communication technology put in place. Yesterday, the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store released its best apps of 2020. Best app for the Google Play Store is Luna, a bedtime calm and relax app that gets you in the mood to sleep. Best app for users is Disney Plus, no explanation needed there. The best everyday app was actually the best iPhone app delivered to us by Apple is an app called Wake Out, a morning exercise routine app keeping us healthy and active during this pandemic. The best iPad app is Zoom, big surprise. The app that saved us in 2020 is the most robust video conferencing platform that we still enjoy today. The best MacBook app is Fantastical, a work and organizational calendar that gives you all the views you like. The best TV app, of course, Disney Plus, which needs no explanation again. So for a complete list of these things, you can go to the Google App Store website or the apple.com/newsroom. Achieving 256 gigabyte RAM is now possible for some systems due to the world's first 64 gigabyte DDR3 module released by SK Hynix 2 months ago. The PC Magazine reports that it is the world's first 64 gigabyte DDR5 that runs 80% faster than DDR4 while using 20% less power at 1.1 volts. The company also gives us a glimpse into the future to look out for a 256 gigabyte single DIMM and RAM to be moved from the motherboard to its own memory module in years to come. Cloud servers, data centers, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are fueling this super speed RAM race. If you ever take a trip to the moon, you will be able to stream your favorite movies and shows and even phone home thanks to a 4G LTE service being installed on the surface of the moon by Nokia. Bloomberg.com reports NASA had the idea to have the world's most expensive cell phone bill to provide sustainable human presence on the moon in late 2022. The wireless network will provide better remote control and navigation for the lunar rovers and high-definition video and streaming. But the advantage is, when you accidentally drop your phone on the moon, it probably won't crack.
I was thinking, if you have a bill and you owe them money, you can't even go to the moon and die. Boy,
I think you have to worry about your phone floating away instead of it getting cracked.
Yeah, I wonder how that works.
All right. We're going to turn our attention now to some of our guests that we have in the show today, and there's one on the phone and one here in our studio. They're going to feature for us a newly released invention. On the phone with us is Virginia. How do you pronounce your last name? Help me out with that.
Higher Damrauer.
Correct. You are correct. Thank you very much for being on the show with us. She is the inventor and developer of the Accent keyboard, the Accent keypad, which is a device for typing special accent characters in written Spanish. Okay, for those of us, can you hold up that keyboard? You see that keyboard there? That is something. You know, it looks like something that would already be in existence, but it is not. But again, in the studio with us is Morgan Lang of Azulli Language Solutions. She does certified translation services here in Tucson. No doubt a big fan of this new Accent keyboard. And I just want to say, you know, prior to the show, we did do a couple of Google searches for Accent keyboards, Spanish keyboards. I don't know what other keywords you used, Rod, but this device does not exist. You can't really find it anywhere, so this is kind of like the debut. So move your mic over just a little bit, Morgan, and tell us what some of the features of this keyboard are.
Well, Virginia would be the best to go into detail about it, but I have been helping her test out this prototype. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that it makes it much easier to type the characters in Spanish that have the accents or the squiggles or the dots or the upside down question mark and exclamation mark. So the beautiful part about it really is that it's portable and it's plug and play. So it does not require any download software or programming for us mere mortals out here who don't know all the things you computer folks do. Mm-hmm. So it's been an interesting journey to try it out.
So that's the user perspective. But now we actually have the developer, Virginia, on the line with us. Virginia, so what was some of the what was the reason why you developed this, and what kind of gave you the idea? Tell us a little bit of the story.
Absolutely. So I actually had this idea 6 years ago, and it has been quite a journey to get it into an actual prototype that you have in your hands there. It was late at night. I was trying to translate something from English to Spanish, and I was so frustrated because I was tired. I had worked my day job, and I was doing translation on the side. And I thought there's got to be a better way to do this, because every time I needed a character in Spanish, I had to stop what I was doing and either copy and paste from a section of my paper where I had pasted Spanish characters, or remember or look up the keystrokes to create the Spanish character. And I thought there's got to be an easier way. And I didn't actually solve the problem that night, but it was later on, I noticed a number pad for a laptop, and I was like, I need that, but with Spanish. Ah. And from that point to now, here we have it in our hands, and this is actually the very first one I drew the drawing of. Didn't have all the characters because I didn't translate enough to be aware of the letter U with the umlauts being needed, and Morgan helped me tremendously in really solidifying, okay, what are the characters that we need, and, you know, helping me figure out how it would look laid out. Mm-hmm. And she's been amazing, and I've sent her the prototype, and we've tested it in Microsoft Word. Mm-hmm. We're going to be testing it in other software products to make sure that it works the way I hope it will. Right now we just have one for Windows, but we're going to be working on developing one for Apple and one for Chromebook, because those will be a little bit different in the programming of it. Mm-hmm. But what we want is one keystroke for an enye or an accent a day instead of 5 keystrokes or copying and pasting. So you can focus on the words that you're thinking of, the words that you want to type, and not have to stop and think about, how do I get this character on the screen? And I think it's long overdue, because you know, we've relied on older technology. Our keyboards haven't changed, right, in dozens of years. And
right. Well, the the QWERTY keyboard goes back to I think like World War I, because I think even when the typewriter was first invented, the location of the keys hasn't changed from its initial start.
And we don't necessarily want them to, I would say, personally. You know, I've on the 10 key for numbers, sometimes the dash and the division symbol or have been moved around on different keyboards, and it makes me crazy because I have to actually think about it now. So I certainly don't want to see the keyboards change in the order of the keys, but they are not very inclusive, that's for sure.
And also, I'm sorry to interrupt the two of you. I definitely want you to continue, Virginia. But even the design of the keyboards, as this was like before the mouse was invented, there was more usage of the F1 and F2 keys, and there was more labels, and there was more keys that did special functions for different systems. So those special systems had special keyboards, but they had but the letters, the QWERTY part of the letters were still in the same formation. Okay, so there's little variations, but overall the keyboard has not changed much since it was first released. But I really appreciate your innovative standpoint, Virginia, because when I took a look at this, that's exactly what I thought. It looked just like a 10 keypad for numbers, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
and you just put, and the funny thing about this is only for Spanish. Now I was going to try to not mention anything. You do have. Please tell me that you have patents for this, because you already.
I am absolutely working with a patent lawyer to.
Okay.
But this is like the early prototype. We're testing it, right?
Okay.
So we're still testing it, and I am working on getting patents for this. Yes.
I have an idea for you, but I have to tell you privately because there are tech people that listen to this show. They may steal this wonderful idea that I may have for you, but that's an amazing story. So it just dawned on you one night, and you just had it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Rod.
You're entering into history because the keyboard has actually changed to some degree. We used to have, if you ever look at Old English, I want to call it Old English, but actually American, and it had a backwards F looking thing, and it had a line through a backwards F, and it used to be on a lot of old books you might see. Well, the reason we don't have that is because it didn't fit on a keyboard on the typewriter. They didn't have enough, so we dropped off a lot of American, we have 26, but we dropped off certain sounds because of that reason. And now you've come up with something that's actually going to do the same thing that they did way back in like 1908 or 1907 when that
Actually, it
took
would be reversing what they did if they're taking away.
Oh yeah, now you're adding in,
now
right?
You're bringing it back in.
And see, Spanish has been here for many, many years. So if there was some kind of an award that you could get for making this, you need it.
I think we can
a lot of us need it.
Maybe
it is so frustrating.
And maybe we can invent a tech award and just give it to Virginia. Right?
That's right.
All right, we're going to take a quick little break here. We'll also try to take some of your calls. Our open lines 520-790-2040. You're listening to the Computer Doctor Show, KVY 1030 Tucson. We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Ugly Goose Car Rental is new in Tucson, providing a low-cost auto rental alternative for just $100 per week. The only catch? The cars are ugly, but very safe and reliable to get you to work, school, shopping, and all your important appointments. To reserve your $100 a week car rental, call Ugly Goose Car Rental at 520-261-0439. Again, 520-261-0439.
Distracted driving has become a deadly epidemic. Saving one life from the hand of a distracted motorist is totally worth it. Commit to safe driving. Commit to following the law. And most importantly, commit to saving lives. Reckless and distracted driving is the #1 killer of teenagers in America. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Pledge to give driving the 100% attention it deserves. Phones down, eyes up. Just drive. Sponsored by Look Save a Life in memory of Paul Garcia and Caitlin Festerling.
Perfect Look Photography is a photography business that serves individuals, families, wedding parties, children's parties, quinceañeras, and family reunions. We also do headshots for actors and model portfolios. We photograph all types of events in Tucson and communities in Pima and Santa Cruz counties. In addition, we provide more types of photos than any photographer in Tucson, including green screen, art photography, montages, and DVD slideshows. We provide great photos at great prices. For more information or to get a quote, please call 499-4209.
Solar is popping up all over town. Why? Because solar just makes sense. Say goodbye to expensive summer electricity bills. Call or text Julie Festerling at Icon Power, 520-307-1013. Avoid the new 7.9% price increase with the utility company. Call Julie at 520-307-1013. Icon Power will help you take control of your electric bill.
Computer Doctor of Tucson is the best choice in desktop support in Tucson. They fix error messages, power and boot problems, install of software and hardware, and much more. You can come to them, or they can come to you, or even have a remote support session so they can fix your issues over the phone quickly. Give them a call at 261-5508, 261-5508. Visit them on the web at computerdoctortucson.com. Computer Doctor of Tucson, because technology is great when it works.
Welcome back to the Computer Doctor Show. Quick shout out to Kevin and Brad at Simply Bits. Thanks for the tour and the hot chocolate yesterday. Appreciate that. I was able to go down there and take a look at their facility. Back to our interview today. Our guests, Morgan Lang of Azulli Language Solutions and Virginia
Damrauer.
Correct.
I answered for you, Virginia.
I'm sorry I'm making fun of you, Virginia. It's just such an unusual name. I don't want to. I've messed up so many names, but you are someone deserving of an award here because this keypad that we're talking about is a accent keyboard being shown in the camera. And if you're only listening to this on the video, on the radio, make sure that you watch the video version of it on Facebook and YouTube on the 1030 The Voice YouTube channel. We were talking about its development. So Virginia had brought it. She had this idea one night. She got tired of doing these keystrokes. So when you're typing, tell me if I'm wrong. When you're typing Spanish characters, okay, they're not just buttons. You have to do special programs, special software, special key mapping.
Yeah.
And this plug-and-play device, which how many of these are in existence right now?
3.
3. This is one of 3. Okay. So the interesting part about this is that in the development of this, okay, when translators are using it, they just have to hit one key instead of multiple keystrokes, which makes it a lot easier in translation. Prior to this, you had to do a cut and paste type of deal, right?
That's what a lot of people do because the keystrokes on a PC in particular are so cumbersome. Each special character has its own code, and you have to hit Alt and then a 4-digit code. And you can imagine if you screw that code up and you get some other weird character and
you have to delete it.
You have to delete and do it again. So it can be, 10 extra keystrokes. And when you're a translator and that's your profession and being efficient, that's obviously a huge issue. I have a Mac specifically because the keystrokes on a Mac are much easier. Just hold down the E or the A, for instance, and it pops up a little menu. And you hit the number, or you can click on the one you want. And I know my hands now, I just have muscle memory, and I know which one's right and wrong. And of course, I make errors sometimes, but it's way better than 10 extra keystrokes.
Right. And so I'm thinking about the feasibility of this now. Would this just be good for translators, or would it be good for anyone that does 2 different languages on the same computer, would you say?
Virginia.
Well,
I would. Oh, Virginia. Go ahead.
Virginia. Or either one.
I think that it would be useful for anyone that types in Spanish because even if it's infrequently, we use so many words that have accents, that have ñes, and it makes a difference, right, in the meaning of the word when you're writing it, whether or not you use the accent. And so I think it's super important. And I think sometimes what happens is we've gotten a little bit lazy and we accept incorrect spelling and we accept things without the proper accent. And we just assume that the other person's going to know what we're talking about because we didn't want to take the time or we don't even know how to force it to put the character that we actually wanted in place.
There's easy examples of words like papa without the accent on the second A, and papa is the difference between potato and father. it's not just a comma that we can sort of.
My father isn't a potato.
No, right? And there are much more. There are so many more examples. I mean, an accent on a letter can change a verb from present tense to past tense.
I'll tell you one that's really common that we all do this. Resume.
Uh-huh.
Resume has an accent on the end.
Versus resume.
Right, resume. It's a totally different word. But we've learned to accept resume with no accent on the.
In context, we have because if the word is all by itself, we have to see it in a sentence to know how to pronounce it. There are lots of words in the English language like that, like says or says. Like this paragraph says or says, and these accents. I don't know if those words, if the words that we've, like you said, that we've come to just understand without the accents, but we read it in context, we know what it is. If there can be like a return of that, if some of these accents were even to be put on an English keyboard.
Right.
But here's my question. So as a computer technician, I'm always installing Windows 10 on lots of computers, and it always asks you what kind of keyboard or layout are you using, and it gives you United States or U.S., and then it lists like a bunch of countries. So isn't there one already for Spanish? And if there is there an English counterpart? I guess to something like that.
That would be a question for Virginia. I really don't know.
I've got the answer for that. Okay, so there's three things happening there. Number one, when you're doing the installation, you're the administrator. A lot of people use computers at libraries, at computer labs, at a friend's house, right? They're not necessarily going to be the administrator on the computer, so they can't do that. They can't change the keyboard that's already there. And number two, you have to learn that alternative layout, because if the keyboard in front of you is labeled as just the standard English keyboard American English keyboard that we're used to, right? Your keyboard mapping changes, but your little stickers unless you have little stickers that you put everywhere to tell you what the new mapping is, you just have to memorize that new pattern. And a lot of people don't want to put that kind of time and effort into something that I think should be simple, right? You want an enye, you click the button that says enye, and you want an A with an accent, just press the button and it's there. You don't have to jump through hoops to make it happen.
Right, exactly. I've had conversations
I'm really surprised.
I've had conversations with developers and more techie people, and immediately their brains start to go to solutions to this problem, right? And it's like, just like you said, there's administrative, options for setting up this, and then you can do this, and then and it kind of goes on and on and on. And the point is, it should be simple, just like Virginia said. This is a linguistic commonality that hasn't been. It's an issue that it hasn't been addressed at all.
As for me, I speak, from people. I might want to do business with somebody else that does not speak English. I've had people comment on videos that I've made or music that I've made, and they're speaking in Spanish. And so let me show you the process. Well, I take what they say, if I can't understand it already. I take what they say, put it in Google, go to open a window, translate. Then if it has an accent, record that whole accent, cut, paste. But some
if it
stuff
doesn't have an accent, then Google Translate is no good.
But my thing is, even people who might want to do business and enter into another area, you'll be able to do business with people and type as you see them typing to you.
Now, we do have a quick caller. Mark is on line 2. Mark, what's your question?
Well, actually, there might be a solution. In Japanese language, they have, I speak and read and write Japanese, and there's keyboarding ways that they handle their language. They have over 45, let's call it alphabet characters.
Is it a second keyboard?
No.
It's
so
one
it is
keyboard.
like a menu option. It's one keyboard, or you could probably get a special keyboard for it. They have those. Anyway, and
something like that actually does. We do have to cut you off. I am so sorry.
Right.
The
kanji characters, the Chinese type of characters, when you type it in the Japanese alphabet, let's call it, it's not really called that, and then it will bring up a menu of these possible Chinese type of characters, or kanjis.
Appreciate your call, Mark. Thanks so much for calling. We do have to close our things, but this is just an awesome subject. We're so thankful that Virginia and Morgan was able to join us on the show today. My name is Aaron Moss, your host and technology expert. Rod Brown, co-host. Tom Fairbanks is at the control board. Listen to the Computer Doctor Show every Saturday at 2 p.m. right here on KVOI 1030 The Voice. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Computer Doctor Show. If you missed any part of this live broadcast, we post all our episodes online at computerdoctorshow.com. Remember, the world is getting more and more tech, and so should you. To stay current with technology, listen to the Computer Doctor Show each week for local and global tech insights. If you have suggestions for a topic on a future show, send us an email at info@computerdoctorshow.com.